Welcome to News About Geology, where we bring you exciting and positive discussions from the world of Earth science. Today, we're diving into a question that feels like it's pulled right from a Hollywood blockbuster. But believe me, the reality has huge implications for hundreds of millions of people all over the globe.
This question was pulled from a recent online discussion, and it really gets to the heart of a common fear, doesn't it? We see these massive volcanoes in movies, we hear about eruptions on the news, but what's the actual threat? Well, today, we're going to dig into the science and find out.
So you've got the media, right? And they absolutely love to talk about this supervolcano. The single world-ending eruption like Yellowstone. It makes for a great movie plot. But when you look at the actual scientific data, it points to a much more immediate and frankly more widespread risk. It's not about the one big one, it's about the hundreds of volcanoes that are, you could say, right next door to our biggest cities.
Okay, so let's dive into this. Because the greatest volcanic hazard facing humanity, well, it's probably not what you're thinking. It isn't just about how big an eruption is. Nope. It's all about location, location, location. Specifically, how close our growing cities are to these active giants. Just look at that number, 431 million. That's staggering, right? That is the number of people who live in cities within just 100 kilometers, that's about 60 miles, of a volcano that has been active in the Holocene epoch. We're talking about a massive chunk of the human population living in what are essentially high-risk zones.
So that begs the question, right? Which cities are most exposed? Well, a really groundbreaking 2025 study gives us a brand new framework to rank them. And it gives us this incredible, kind of scary, global view of the front lines.
All right, taking the top spot is Bandung in Indonesia. I mean, look at this. You've got over 8 million people living within 30 kilometers of, get this, up to 12 different volcanoes. Talk about concentrated risk. That's a perfect storm of population, proximity, and just the sheer number of potential threats. And if we zoom out a bit and just look at the raw numbers, the sheer population within that 100-kilometer zone, the scale is just mind-blowing. You've got megacities like Jakarta, Tokyo, and Manila topping the list. Together, that's over 80 million people. 80 million people, all living with these potential hazards nearby. But here's where it gets really interesting. The picture changes completely when we zoom into that critical 30-kilometer radius. Why is that so important? Well, that's the zone where the most destructive hazards happen. Things like pyroclastic flows. And suddenly, cities like Bandung, Naples in Italy, and Managua in Nicaragua, they jump right into sharp focus. We're talking millions of people living literally on the volcano's doorstep.
So, identifying where all these risks are is obviously step one. And hey, if you want to do some more fascinating deep dives into our planet, you should absolutely check out the fantastic YouTube channel by PGO Ricardo Valls. It's incredible stuff. But okay, once we've identified the where, the next crucial question has to be, how do we know when an eruption might actually happen?
All right, so let's talk about decoding a volcano's playbook. Because here's the thing, volcanoes don't typically just erupt out of the blue. There are warning signs. And all around the world, volcano observatories are basically like detectives, constantly monitoring for a classic set of clues that tell them magma is on the move. So what are they looking for? Well, these are the typical signals geologists are trained to spot. You've got an increase in earthquakes, both how many and how strong they are. The ground itself can start to swell up, even just a little bit. You might see changes in the gas composition coming out of vents, or even brand new hotspots showing up on the ground. Usually, all these things start to ramp up, getting more and more intense right before an eruption. Okay, that's the classic playbook. But what if the biggest warning sign is silence? I know, it sounds counterintuitive, but this very question leads us to a fascinating scientific plot twist that is totally changing how we understand what volcanoes are up to.
And that brings us to Iceland and the 2021 eruption at Fagradalsfjall. This event was a real head-scratcher for geologists because it showed a completely unexpected pattern. It basically threw out the old rulebook.
So get this. Instead of everything ramping up before the eruption, the activity actually decreased. It went quiet. A study in Nature suggested that maybe the tectonic stress in the area was released, which in turn opened up a nice, easy pathway for the magma to travel to the surface. It's like opening a door instead of trying to break down a wall. A totally game-changing insight for certain types of volcanoes. This whole story is such a great reminder that our planet is constantly active and we're always learning new things. And you know what?
That knowledge can really transform fear into empowerment. It's not about being scared, it's about being prepared.
And this is happening right now. As of late 2025, there are about 44 volcanoes in a state of continuing eruption somewhere in the world. This isn't ancient history. This is a very, very present-day phenomenon.
So, the most crucial point here is that we can actually prepare for this stuff. Organizations like the Red Cross have these simple, really actionable steps. First, know your risk. Find out what the specific threats are where you live. Second, make a plan. How will you communicate? Where will you go? And third, gather supplies. It sounds basic, but having a kit ready can make all the difference.
Look, the bottom line is you can empower yourself and the people around you with knowledge. And there are some really great resources online to help you do just that. Seriously, to continue your own journey of geological discovery, we highly recommend you visit Ricardo Valls' YouTube channel. It's fantastic.
And really, this just illustrates our challenge and our opportunity perfectly. We can't stop the Earth's power. We just can't. But we can learn to live with it. And that brings up the real question. Are we actually listening to what the planet is telling us? That's our challenge, to use science to better understand and coexist with these incredible forces that shape our world. Thanks for watching News About Geology.
Welcome to my channel, where you'll find over 2,000 videos on geology, geochemistry, AI, and many other subjects. If you like what you see, help us grow by subscribing, liking, and sharing this channel.
I think these videos are brilliant, and I'm sure you will like them too. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell.